Let's get honest real quick. How many of y'all made goals at the beginning of this year and have already stopped pursuing them? There's a lot of different reasons that you might have failed, whether that is that it was an unrealistic goal or simply just that you didn't feel like continuing to try. But if you're being completely honest with yourself, have you ever asked yourself if the goals that you have set really align with what you want? If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tyler Warlow, and I make videos on things I wish I knew when I was younger. All of these videos center around how to improve your life through your confidence, capabilities, and overall happiness. I know in my own life that I have struggled to balance way too many goals. It's a subject that I've talked about in past videos and something that I'm sure many of you struggle with yourself. Usually when we're trying to juggle so many things, we end up failing at quite a few of them, which ends up to this positive feedback loop that results in us setting more goals that we just end up failing over and over again and feeling worse about our ability to achieve them. But what if I told you that there was a framework out there to help you set more valuable goals? In today's video, I'm going to discuss with y'all how to set goals that align with your values and how setting these goals can help you to move towards the life that you always wanted. If that sounds interesting to you, let's go ahead and jump into the video. One of the most common mistakes that a lot of people make is making way too many goals that don't really align with their values or that they can't really focus on. So one of the first things that we need to figure out is what are goals that truly align with what you want out of life? A lot of people think that they know the answer to these types of questions, whether it is, I want more money, I want to go on a fancy vacation with my family, or I want to buy a special sports car. A lot of people think they know what they want out of life. But when they actually end up achieving those things, they find out it doesn't actually make them any happier. So they end up in this constant loop of trying to pursue the next goal that never actually improves their life. So there's a practice that I recommend all of y'all take a little bit of time to do. Many people talk about this exercise and it takes on several different forms, but the form that I like to think about it in the most is the end of life exercise. You're gonna take a few minutes to sit down and think about where you would be at the end of your life. And what is it that you want people to remember about you? This end of life exercise is going to focus on examining your life as a whole. Bear with me, it might seem a little dark at first, but I promise that it's useful. You're going to think about when you are at your deathbed. What do you want people to remember the most about you? And what is it that you think that you might regret? I want to be remembered as someone who always made time for his friends and family, someone who was caring and loving, and it didn't matter what you were going through, that I would be there. In terms of regrets that I might have, I think I would personally regret not spending enough time with my family. I think that I would regret not having genuine experiences with my family that would form lasting memories that I could hold on to for years. Honestly, when I think about it, even though it would be cool to have a nice car, it's really not something that I see myself caring about when I'm at the end of my life. So you want to ask yourself those questions. When you are at that point in your life, what is it that you think you'll care about? What is it that you want people to remember you by? This is going to help you to establish your values and help you to understand what it is that you actually want to move towards. Let's say that someone has the goal to own a large house. They should ask themselves, why do they have that goal? They might answer that question with, I want to be able to host my friends and family. Which, if they then ask themselves why they want to do that again, it might come down to that they want to ensure that they have quality time with their friends and family. Which, of course, a big house is not the only way to achieve that. But if you can dig down and find the root to a specific thing that you want at that point in your life, then I think it's a good goal and a good value to go after. But you should be pursuing the root value at the end of that. So once you've done this exercise and you have an understanding of what you want people to remember you for and the things that you might regret not doing, that's what you can use to then inform the goals that you're going to pursue. When it comes to constructing the goals that will help you to pursue the life that you are dreaming of, you want to think about it in two different mindsets. First off, you want to think of goals that you can pursue, and then you want to think of goals that you want to avoid. We'll start off with the pursuit goals. These are the goals of things that you want to be able to do or achieve within your lifetime. For example, a pursuit goal that I might have for myself is that I want to form my own business that makes at least 10K a month. This is a specific one that I have, and it's going to take specific actions in order to reach that goal. Now, coming into the avoidance goals, these are goals that are centered around things that you do not want. So an example for me, which might seem a little dark but rings extremely true, is that I do not want to die prematurely. I want to be able to be there for my future family, and in order for me to not die prematurely, I'm going to have to take certain steps to avoid that specific thing. For me, that's going to look like taking care of my health through eating the right foods and maintaining a consistent exercise routine, as well as taking care of my mental health. So avoidance goals can, in their own way, provide a pretty strong amount of emotion because naturally as humans, we try to avoid pain. So by centering goals around things that we want to avoid, it helps to give us that little extra push whenever we might be having a hard time pursuing our goals. Now, here's where we start to dive into things a little bit more. This is where most people fail. These goals are so big and so large that it's really hard to understand when you're making progress or if you're even moving towards that goal that you want to achieve. So what you're going to want to do is take those large goals that you just built out and try to break them down into such a step that it's what is the first thing that I can do today to start moving towards this goal. So you want to take this large goal and break it down into smaller and smaller chunks until you can get that first win that will help you start building momentum towards reaching the larger goal. So many people make the mistake of making these goals way too large and unrealistic and unattainable. And so when they don't reach some goal within a specific timeline that they set for themselves, they get demotivated and lose sight of the future that they're pursuing and stop working towards it altogether. What you want to do is generate consistency, and you can do that by giving yourself small, consistent wins by, like I said, breaking these goals down into smaller, more achievable chunks. So let's go back to the example where I talk about building your own business that would help you get to 10K. You want to be careful about setting goals that are factors outside of your control. And you want to focus on those goals that you can actually control to some degree. So let's think about how we can break that down into some smaller chunks. If you're trying to get a business that will generate 10K a month, you're going to have to do a few different things. You're first going to have to build the business itself. You're then going to have to generate leads and sales that will help you to reach that 10K, and then you'll have to grow your company until you reach the point of getting to that 10K. So in terms of those three things, what is the first thing that we can start working on? It's going to be that we want to start the business. And so once we have that initial goal of starting the business, what are the then individual tasks that we can break out to help us to meet that specific goal? You're going to decide what you're going to be offering in your business, and then you need to take the actions to actually start it. Whether you need to go to the bank and get a loan to start your business, or if it's something as simple as posting a video to social media, you need to take that first step. But you're going to generate a roadmap for yourself using these smaller goals, always keeping that larger goal as the end state that you want to achieve. Now that you've got these different goals and these roadmaps towards what you want, I'm going to say something that it might be a little difficult for some of y'all to hear. You're going to want to really go all in on pursuing only one or two of these goals at a time. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when pursuing their goals is having so many different things going on that they can't really dedicate the time or energy to really making significant progress on any of them. Another term for this is shiny object syndrome. So as soon as you become interested or hear about something that excites you, you start working on that. And then once something else pops up, you start going and working on that, so that none of the things that you end up actually working on have any significant progress to show for it. Decide which one of these goals is going to be your priority and really go all in on focusing on that until you've built it up to really what you wanted to achieve. You're going to make progress on those things much faster than if you were trying to do 10 different things all at once and doing only a little bit very inconsistently for each of those 10 different things. So I'll give you all a real quick summary of all the things that we talked about in this video. In this video, we talked about how you can build goals to help you move towards the life that you always wanted. And this is going to be by doing an exercise where you examine what is it that you want at the end of your life. What do you want people to remember you for? What is it that you would regret not doing? You can do this by looking at people that inspire you and trying to model it off of them if you are struggling to come up with ideas. The next thing that you're going to do is try to generate wins for yourself by taking these large overarching goals and breaking them down to the point that you can generate a win within the next couple of days. And you're going to consistently do that so that you can generate forward progress on these goals. By establishing these smaller goals, you make yourself a roadmap to reaching these larger goals that align with your values and help you to move towards the life that you always wanted. And then finally, once you have these roadmaps in place, you're going to examine them and figure out which ones are your priority. And you're going to go all in and focus on one or two of those goals until you achieve what you wanted to achieve. This is going to help you to move and make progress on these goals much faster than if you had spread your interest over many different things. And that pretty much sums it up. If you found the information in today's video to be helpful or informative at all, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to join me along in this self-improvement journey. If you have any of your own thoughts, ideas, or opinions, please be sure to leave a comment down below. I like to read and respond to all of them. If you're interested in more videos like this one where I talk about goal-related topics, be sure to check out this video right here, which discusses a planning method to help you achieve your goals. If you're more interested in my most recent stuff, be sure to check out this video right here. But until the next time, this is Tyler Warlow, signing off.